Caption: National Endowment for the Arts, Creative Forces, arts.gov/CreativeForces. In black and white, hands guide a nailhead as it etches into a piece of leather. Words appear. Creative Forces seeks to improve the health, wellness, and quality of life for military and veteran populations exposed to trauma, as well as their families and caregivers, through access to creative arts therapies and community arts activities. As a man with tattooed arms rolls a piece of hot molten glass on the end of a metal rod, the title appears: Creative Forces, Healing the Invisible Wounds of War. A gloved hand holds a glass torch to a small forge, igniting it. Title: The Anatomy of an Aha Moment. Inside a transparent glass mask, the brain is colored with blue, red, and mainly green. Caption: Heather Spooner, art therapist.
When people experience a traumatic event, oftentimes the parts of the brain neurologically that are responsible for visual or emotions are very active, and parts of the brain that are responsible for language tend to shut down.
In the suburbs, a man walks up his driveway and opens his garage door.
They found out I had damage to my right brain,
Michael Schneider, 1st Sergeant, U.S. Marine Corps, retired.
which caused a non-epileptic seizure disorder, and my left brain is an epileptic seizure disorder. So the damage that was done on my left brain is controlled by medicine, and the only way you can control my right brain is by utilizing different forms of therapy.
Michael's garage door opens, revealing 2 car spaces filled with tools and workbenches.
And music and art is that main output for me to control the seizures on my right brain.
Heather Spooner.
One of the things that people often experience when they're doing art is what people talk about as the flow state. And so it's very similar to what people may experience during meditation.
Tattooed hands rest on the floor of a yoga studio as a man bends in a child's pose.
There's physiological change that occurs in the body, and it creates this relaxation state.
At a work table, a carving tool is drawn across a piece of blonde leather. In another workspace, hands select forging tools, then a red-hot piece of iron is tapped with a metal mallet.
People may forget about pain for a while. They may lose track of time. And for many people, it's getting into that flow state that feels so beneficial about the art making and that they really enjoy.
Using a blade, Michael trims the edge of the piece of leather in his garage.
One session with my music therapist, I went the next day almost seizure-free. And it was an aha moment for me almost immediately of like, well, the only thing that changed was I went and she made me sing.
Michael stands with his eyes closed as he plays a ukulele.
That moment, I knew the art was going to help me immensely.
Patrick Spiro, U.S. Army, retired.
For me with art, it's almost, in a sense, like going to the gun range where I'm focused through a scope.
Patrick, who is in his late 30s with long brown hair and a mustache and goatee, stands in the woods.
And I'm looking at crosshairs, then I'm firing shots, and I'm going down and I'm looking at the target, and I'm able to go, all right, I processed all this with my mind clear.
A black lab sits on the floor beside him in the interview chair. A piece of art made of a collage of clay and bordered with bullets depicts an abstract beach scene with a red lifeguard chair in the foreground and a yellow sun in the upper left-hand corner.
With art, I'm like, you're getting a natural high off of what you're doing, not a fake high off a bottle of alcohol that's going to come with extreme lows or crazy side effects.
A mask made of a blue, gray, and black material is painted with red lines. It has one blue eye and one brown.
One of the things I do talk about during my intake is the state of flow.
Danielle Braxton, art therapist. Danielle is a white woman with long blue hair in her 40s.
And how they're going to come in and we're going to get them set up. I might go over some materials. I will explain a directive that I have for them. And then I tell them, you're just going to work. I'm going to sit over there and look like I'm not working, and you're going to work.
Glima Gordon, U.S. Army, retired. Glima, a black woman, has her hair pulled back and wears a wool blazer.
Keep your hands busy so your mind won't go where it shouldn't go.
Sewn into a quilt is a self-portrait of Glima. Words are embroidered around the quilt's eyes that read, stress, loss, depression, shame, pain, distrust, anxiety. Embroidered on her pupils are the words love and joy, and her mouth the acronym PTSD.
When I use my hands, I have to pay attention to what my hands are doing. That means that I don't give my mind a chance to have intrusive thoughts.
Heather.
And the ability to be able to start doing that on their own. While there's many things that, as a therapist, I need to guide them through, getting into that flow state once they've experienced it is often something that they continue even between and outside of our sessions together.
Outside on a porch, a man in a red tank top hammers a piece of metal. In the background, flames flicker in a small forge.
It's very taxing.
Michael Rod Rodriguez, SFC, U.S. Army Special Forces retired, is in his mid-40s, white, with dark hair and a dark beard. His right eye is brown and his left blue.
But when I'm in those moments, being emotional for that length of time, it allows me to face and focus on a lot of the shadows that I carry around. I get in the flow state, hours will fly by, but it provides me an opportunity to heal.
He hammers a piece of red-hot metal.
I just feel free.
Rod smiles. At his work table, he puts on a leather apron and work gloves, then uses a hand torch to light his forge. Michael stands outside his house with a young woman who throws a frisbee to a dog.
Music therapy was the first aha moment that said, stop, look, listen, and see what's around you.
He sits at a dining table playing a board game with his family.
The music was the outlet for me that brought me to the next day.
Rod opens his garage door, then exits his house behind a man in his early 20s who carries a toddler. They tend to a smoker.
My sons, it allowed me to talk with them and share with them not only, how I really feel.
A photo shows Rod standing outside with 3 young men and the smiling toddler.
Still being that strong male figure that they still need in their lives, but
He shows his eldest son how to hammer a red-hot iron.
it allowed me to maybe say things that I probably wouldn't have said or say things differently. It took the fear away from me. It allowed me to move forward.
Glima Gordon smiles.
Making that quilt was a positive thing. And now that I can reflect back on that, I could give myself some advice and say, it's gonna be okay. You're gonna go through some things, but you're not by yourself.
Rod stands outside holding a red and blue mask. An American flag hangs behind him.
This mask is just representation of the open dialogue that I have with myself that I never had up to that point in my life.
Outside his home in the evening darkness, Rod and his son pull metal out of the forge.
My experience in the military made me the person that's sitting right here, and I'm proud of it.
A notice on a wall reads, Michael R. Rodriguez, 02 June 1992, 31 July 2013, De Oppresso Liber.
The experiences and traumas that happen to you, they're going to affect you, but it's what you choose to do with those experiences to those around you.
In daylight, Rod shuts his garage door. He races down the driveway, kneeling on a skateboard as his grandson rides a pushbike beside him.
I don't bottle them up and stick them in a shelf in the closet. I identify them and help those experiences make me a better man.
Caption, National Endowment for the Arts, Creative Forces. arts.gov/Creative Forces. Artwork, The Walk. Written, lyrics, audio, and album artwork, Kyle Vanek. Within, Christopher Stowe, Master Sergeant, USMC, retired. View from the lifeguard stand, Patrick Stowe, U.S. Army, retired. Defend and Protect, James A. Hawley, Veterans Hospital. Behind the Mask, Glima Gordon, U.S. Army, retired. Audio description by Descriptive Video Works.